We're back.
Hello and welcome to Jerks Talk Games, the podcast where two developers talk about games and pretend they know what they're on about. My name's Gary Hockin and with me is Chris Tankersley. Say hello, Chris.
Hello.
And you thought we were gone and forgotten, but 6 months later, here we are with another episode of Woken from Stasis. How are you doing, Chris?
It's our biannual podcast.
Yes, it's our, we did do it every fortnight, every 2 weeks. Now we're doing it every 4 year. That doesn't work, but it's fine. It's fine.
Wouldn't that be
yes?
Every 4 years sounds like a huge amount of time.
Well, considering Fortnite is short for 14 nights, so that doesn't work on any conceivable level. So
every 14 months is our now current release schedule.
Indeed. Anyway, how are you doing? I mean, it's totally Chris's fault that we haven't recorded. I've been up for recording every week. It's just Chris has kept putting me off and cancelling, and no, that's not true at all, is it? Let's be honest.
You can hear the lies coming out of your mouth.
But what have you been up to, Chris? It's been a while. I believe it's been since June or something the last time we recorded. So
yeah, it's been most of the summer. So not really a whole lot other than work and playing video games. We went on family vacation and stuff. But really, that's about it. Because summer's pretty much a slow time for me. No conferences really, stuff like that. Actually, this year's has been really low on conferences for me. I just have not been able to get them scheduled. So.
I've changed jobs, so it's no longer my job to attend conferences. So I don't think I've been to anything since I went to PHP Scotland. Between the last time we spoke and now, I've deliberately not planned to go anywhere. I'm pretty happy with that state of affairs in the short term. I'm starting to get the itch again. It's like nearly a year of not going to a lot of events, so I'm starting to think, now's the time I could do with starting to get out and meet. It's meeting my friends and catching up with people that is where the the thing I miss more than the events these days. But yeah, It's all good. So what have you been playing in for once? Sorry, shoot.
Oh, I was going to say, I do get to keynote Madison PHP, which would be my very first keynote, so...
Yeah, you're languishing way behind me in that remark, right? I
don't understand why anybody ever picks you for a keynote.
2017 was the year of the keynote for me, but it's just a lot of fun. Congratulations. Have they got an open CFP, or have they already closed that?
Oh, it's in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Congratulations. I won't be able to get there then. So what have you been playing, Chris? Let's move back on topic. It's been months and months, so there's, we should have a lot, but we've picked just a few of the highlights, I guess, of what we've played.
Yeah, I've been trying to go back through my back catalog because I looked at my shelf and I realized how many games I've got sitting on that shelf that I have not played, ignoring my Steam library completely, because that's a dead zone I'm never going to get through. Really, for the most part, I've been playing the last couple of weeks a lot more of Destiny 2. It came out free on PS Plus and the base game, so I picked that up and I have been streaming that on Twitch. I've been playing a little bit of Fortnite when my kids want to play because that's their, that's the thing the kids do nowadays is play Fortnite.
Yeah.
But I'm a dirty default skin. And then I got back into Oxygen Not Included, which is a little kind of people management sim.
It's a lot of fun, actually. I bought that. We briefly mentioned it a year or so ago when I bought it in early access. So really, it's one of those where you think, I'll just have 20 minutes, and then 2 hours later, you're still sort of pottering around without really having achieved anything.
Oh, my little guys are so disgusting, vomiting and pissing everywhere. But it had a I think it was a rocketry update about a month ago or so. So I started getting back into that. And about the last week or so, I've been playing and streaming Dwarf Fortress on Twitch, which is mostly just because I want to do that because I love Dwarf Fortress. That being said, RimWorld just had 1.0 come out, so I think tonight I'm actually going to stream that for a while in celebration finally a 1.0 release on RimWorld.
I have no idea what Dwarf Fortress is, so now's the time to...
It's like RimWorld if you wanted to play in a fantasy setting and 1995 graphics. So it's all blocky and keyboard driven and...
Sounds awesome, to be honest.
It is. When I started playing this previous Fort, Within 5 minutes, a dwarf my one woodcutter dwarf had suffered a head injury and refused to work.
I'll watch your back VODs on Twitch, I guess. That looks
so
like a bit of fun.
I love it just because it's one of those kind of emergent story kind of gameplay things.
I mean,
but it takes a lot to get into because it's all keyboard driven. By default, it's all ASCII text graphics. So like you get like tile sets and stuff. But it's one of my favorite games.
It looks great. I'm definitely going to catch up with the VOD on that. Fortnite, geez, how is that still a thing? You know, I thought that fad would have ended.
I spent way too much money on Fortnite Halloween costumes, so it will be a thing for a very, very, very long time.
You know, we've talked about Battle Royale games a lot on this channel over the last couple of years. You know, my attitude, I have this love-hate relationship with PUBG, which I thoroughly enjoy playing and then smash up my keyboard and throw it out the window. But I just can't get into Fortnite. I really can't get into the building bit, I think. And without the building bit, it's not fun playing against somebody who can build a fort in, like, 8 seconds flat. So
I have nothing on my kids. Like I watched my son play this morning before they went to school, and he's playing on Xbox, so he's got the controller keybinds. So he's got all the building tools on the trigger keys, and you just see them build shit insanely quick. So usually what I do with them is play playground mode, which is just a small. I think it's up to 8 people or something that you can select to be in a game. And it's an hour-long round, and you just, shoot back and forth. So we just screw around in Playground for an hour.
Yeah.
I have no interest in playing online or, doing, the leaderboardish kind of stuff.
I got to save the world, because I bought Fortnite when it came out, because I thought it was going to be a paid game, so I paid 30 quid for it when it came out. And then realized... And then, a week later, it went from paid closed beta to open beta, and everybody could just play for free, because I'm that kind of a stupid mug person. But it means I've got the Save the World mod, which is the PvE game, which is brilliant fun, and I'm really looking forward to playing that with my mate, who I play co-op games with online all the time, and except he won't pay for it, which I totally agree, because that's going to be free as well at some point. It's just waiting for it to drop.
At this point, it's just a way to farm their virtual currency. That's all my son does in it, just to get a little bit of extra.
It's a lot of fun to do, and it will be a lot of fun to do as we played a lot of what's the Orcs Must Die, and it's got that kind of vibe to it, except for more open world building rather than having spots where you can only build. So I'm looking forward to playing that as a co-op game, but I cannot play the Battle Royale. It boils my blood when I've got enough to worry about trying to aim at somebody with my mouse and keyboard rather than having to worry about building. I guess I'm old. I think that's the normal conclusion we come to.
Play it on consoles with the console peasantry, and it's not as bad, but it's still crazy. So I really only enjoy kind of the playground mode.
Yeah, I guess. So I guess I've been playing tons more modded Minecraft. I'm still completely addicted to modded Minecraft. The mod packs that come out, they're the skyblock type ones. There's one now which is stone block, which is you're just in a 9x9 cube in the middle of a cave of just stone, and then so it's the opposite of a skyblock where you've got tons of stuff around you, but you start with nothing. I love them. I love modded Minecraft. I love building the contraptions that can create stuff Factorio style, can take this, take that, and then turn them into something useful, and it's great fun. I'm still enjoying that. And I bought ARMA 3 to play with my mate Ian, but I guess we had a couple of hours of fun out of it. It's just so bad.
It's a fairly old game at this point, and it really...
But it's had, engine updates and stuff.
I feel it was only popular because of DayZ. The DayZ mod it had for it.
But there's loads of mods for it. It's just I don't know what ones to work. And it's the typical game where there's not really a lot of help available with regards to getting mods running. And we go, this looks amazing. We'll both install the same set of mods, and then he will fire up a game, and then I'll join the game, and everybody's just in their default T model pose with no, just in underwear and no, there's no guns because we've missed a mod somehow, and it just
Hey, that costs $10 on Fortnite now.
it was just like that we had some fun with it, but geez, So we've been playing The Division lately because The Division 2's out soon. So Ubisoft game, if you don't know it, typical Ubisoft game, I guess. Really good fun to play co-op. Really, really good fun, and very cheap now because Division 2's coming out. So they're trying to like sell The Division to get people in hyped up for The Division before the sequel comes out. Really, 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 really enjoying it. It's so much fun. It's like open worldy. Do stuff. There's a couple of you open up each zone as you level, and you just do stuff in each zone. There's like side quests and encounters and maybe a couple of story missions in each one. It's really, really good fun, I have to say. Like, grind through the gear, get better gear. Really, really enjoying it. I'd never heard of it before, to be perfectly honest. Like, I've always had this big blind spot for those Tom Clancy games because I've never got them in the past. Because, like, the first time those games with Clancy's name came out, they were like I remember trying to play them where you have to control like 4 people.
Yeah, it was a Rainbow Six.
Yeah, and I just never ever gone on with that series of games. So anything that had Tom Clancy's name, I've just passed it over immediately, not realizing this existed. So
yeah, have you played The Siege? That's the other Tom Clancy one that's out. Is it okay? That one looks halfway decent as kind of like a competitive squad game. I see a lot of people are still streaming that on Twitch, so it looks kind of cool, but I haven't really played it.
I think I've seen some people streaming it. That's the one where you have like a team defending inside a building and a team outside the building trying to assault it, right?
Yeah, and you have like the shields and stuff you can put up and all sorts of stuff.
You can board up the windows and crap. That's not for me. The Division's really, really good. It's a classic Ubisoft game in regards to it feels exactly like Fallout 5. I guess it came between Far Cry 4 and Far Cry 5. We'll get onto that next, yeah. I think it feels like it came between Far Cry 4 and 5, which would kind of work with the timeline. Because there's a lot of Far Cry 5-ish play in it. Really, it's good because it's really difficult for me to explain why it shouldn't be as much fun as it is. If I explain to you what the game is in detail, you'd think, it sounds okay. But it's a lot more fun than the sum of its parts. And I don't know why that is. I guess it's because they've got this polished game engine now, and they've got this polished formula, and they know that they're very, very clever developers where they know just the right amount of enemies to throw at you so that it's fun. They know how to design maps so that enemies come at you from different places so it challenges you just enough. They're really clever at that kind of thing, I think. And they know like how to, same as any Ubisoft game, I think, this set, you can shoot the flamethrower people in their tanks they wear on their back and they blow up, and all those little touches that I really find a lot of fun. So yeah, it's a good game. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I may have to check that out.
I think it's like $10 or $15 on Steam until 2 comes out. So, or if it's not on Steam, it'll be on one of those dodgy CD key sites. You can pick it up for like 10 quid. So
yeah, I'll probably pick it up on PlayStation go to GameStop and get it for dirt cheap.
And then I've been playing Fallout 4 because I realised in the hype for 76, and the hype for 76 is real, and we'll come on to that soon, that I'd never actually played through a couple of the larger downloadable content for Fallout 4. So I'd only played halfway through Far Harbor, and I'd never played Nuka World, which I was like,
I don't think I ever did either. I remember getting to Far Harbor, but I don't remember doing anything else in it.
Far Harbor's a really nice bit of DLC. It's a traditional piece of DLC. There's an island, so you have to get to the island, and I've played through that now. There's some nice little stories. There's like a 3-way isolated faction war going on the island, and you can resolve it in different ways. You can side with whoever you want. A real typical Fallout type DLC, which is certainly not a criticism. I feel like Fallout's DLC has been one of its good points over the years, typically.
Yeah, 4 was a little bit weird because you had the small ones like
the
Mechanist was like 5 hours maybe, and then you had like the builder packs for like the a couple other things that came along with it.
Yes, you had the
But
Wasteland
Far
Workshop.
Harbor and Nuka-Cola were fairly large.
You had the Wasteland Workshop, which was just
That's what it was.
just crafting, and you also had the other just crafting one, which was the contraptions.
Yeah, because that added
like the machines and being able to craft
Yeah.
stuff and conveyor belts to link stuff up, and that's a lot of fun. But I've never thought that the settlement building was ever my number one sort of. In fact, I did the minimum amount possible to pass the quests. I'm not, I totally get that's fun for some people.
It seemed like that was really geared more toward like survival mode, but then in survival mode, you're never staying in one place like super long that you want to have like a base set up like that.
Well,
you're
you never
constantly moving,
or you
need to have like a bunch of little bases set up.
You wouldn't run back to one base because you wouldn't have fast travel. Like when you're playing normal Fallout 4, you just fast travel back to Sanctuary and dump all your junk and do your little bit of crafting and like whatever you want to do and then head out again, which you can't do. So. But and then the Mechanist was like a very short single player, very short story-based campaign, but it also added a ton of crafting around craftable robot companions, which but then Far Harbor was this own isolated DLC, and Nuka World's really, really, really good. Like it's almost like the full stop on Fallout 4 because you do this huge. It's this huge area. It's this brand new huge area of Nuka World, which is this Nuka-Cola based theme park, which is a lot of fun. You can imagine with the Fallout 4 comedy lore that they've had a lot of fun with that. You could. I don't need to go any further, right? You can totally imagine how funny that stuff is. But then there's also an open-ended campaign where you can actually say, do you know what? Screw the Minutemen. I'm going to side with the Raiders who are running Nuka World, and I'm going to go and retake over all of my settlements in the Common Lands, the Commonwealth, the whatever it's called. The Commonwealth. And I'm going to actually get them for the Raiders. And you can turn against Preston and actually...
See, that sells it right there.
And so, but it's clever because then... there's this self-contained game, and I guess it probably is at least 30 hours of play for Nuka World. It's got to be at least 30 hours of play if you're playing it on the most difficult. I don't play on survival. I play one down, wherever that is. But then there's like open-ended amounts of time. If you want to like convert all of the settlements to be the Raider settlements, you can do that, which is another, like, I don't know, 20 hours of play or 30 hours, whatever, right there. It's really, really good. Definitely, even if you don't do the settlement stuff, the story around the actual DLC is definitely worth playing.
Yeah, I really should get back into and try those out because I have them and I really should get back there and play them.
I mean, I played through up to level 20 before I started playing through the DLC, and I put a self-imposed no guns rule, so I've been playing with only melee and explosives, which is again really difficult, but it's tons of fun, right? It is tons of fun.
Yeah.
Die a lot.
Yeah.
Because I've played that game so often, it's like, okay, I have to try and impose some kind of new rules upon myself. But yeah, I love that. And obviously, I started playing Fallout Shelter again because of that, because of the No Clip documentary that came out about Fallout Shelter. I was like, oh, I never really give that a chance. So I've been playing a bit of that as well. Mobile.
That's actually fairly fun. I have it on Switch because it was one of the first free games you could get.
I didn't know you could get it on Switch. That's interesting.
Yeah, you can get it on Switch. It's kind of wonky playing with the controller, but
I thought you could use the touchscreen though, right?
Yeah, but if you have it docked, you can't. I can go up and touch my TV, but it's not going to do anything.
Old school.
But but playing with the controller takes a little bit getting used to. But overall, it's a fairly fun game to just kind of sit down and play. The play loop for it is pretty satisfying, even with it being a pseudo kind of free to play game. I've never felt the need to actually buy credits in it.
No, typically I normally, but if I play these games for more than like 10 hours, I'll normally buy whatever the intro pack is that they normally have on offer, because I don't begrudge giving somebody $5 if I've played 10 hours of fun with their product. So yeah, it's all good. I mean, yeah, it's all racking up to the fact that Fallout 76 is released on November the 14th, and I cannot wait. I've been devouring the content that I could find. So I think we both follow Many a True Nerd.
Yes.
As a YouTuber. And I've backwatched tons of his Fallout content. I stumbled upon him when the John, when the Fallout 3 is better than you think video, that 2 hour, like, perfectly put together video about why Fallout 3 is a better game than everyone gives it credit for. But he's done some great Fallout content, and he got flown out to West Virginia and to the 3 hour. They invited a load of press and some YouTubers for 3 hours worth of gameplay, and so the first gameplay footage has come out effectively, which is the hot news, and I am so excited.
It bothers me because I try to have a no pre-order rule. One, because games are not a finite resource anymore, and like I can get them digitally. They're going to be there when I want to go purchase them. But they're doing the beta rollout, and like I really kind of want to get it and play it, but then also that means pre-ordering it. And so it's I'm on the fence of like, do I actually want to get it early or not? I don't think I'm on the fence anymore about getting it, because with the actual gameplay that's come out, it looks fairly fun. And while Bethesda does not have the greatest track record of making a game that is not easy to break, I'm not so worried about this in the multiplayer aspect, seeing some of the mechanics that they put into the game.
So there's 2 points there, and I mean, the beta's worth discussing. It's available on the 23rd, which is next week for console. I'll be playing on PC, as usual.
For Xbox, PS4 is the 30th with the PC.
Yeah, so I'll be playing on PC. I'll always choose PC personally. You know, I'm a mouse and keyboard person, so particularly in this game there'll be PvP. So I know the VAT system and stuff. We'll come on to some of the mechanics, but they have said that the beta won't be a 24/7 online experience, so it's not just going to be like open beta for 24/7 and for 14 days or whatever it is, and then it'll be up and down. They're gonna. It's kind of the way the betas are going at the moment, where they'll open it for 24 hours here and there, I guess. And there's been no decision made on whether they're going to reset the game after the beta. So we don't know at this point whether the beta players will get a slight head start on the people who are just playing it from the full release. But I hope they wipe it. I'd be happy to play
I think they should. Yeah,
I'd be happy to play the beta for a couple of days here and there, and then sort of just my bonus is that I know how the game works when the full game comes, rather than it being me having an actual head start. So I'll definitely be playing the beta. Like, there's no doubt. I couldn't wait 14 days. I'll be like, it might be one of those where I take like a day's leave if I find the beta's like open one Friday. I'll be like to my boss on the Wednesday, I'm going to take Friday off if that's okay, because I want to slam the beta for a full day.
I've come down with radiation poisoning and have a day off.
Yes, but it looks like it's really good fun. I mean, the mechanics. There's still a load of questions. I don't know how it's going to work, but the mechanics look really solid. So the big open-ended question for me was, how the hell is VATS going to work? And it turns out it works exactly the same as the possible it works exactly the same as it does currently, but without the slowdown of time.
It works like how VATS was always explained to work in the real world.
Yeah.
So like the slowdown, the turn-based stuff in Fallout 1 and 2, and then the pausing and the slowdown in Fallout 3 and 4 was always the artificial game mechanic of your Pip-Boy and VATS telling you where to shoot.
Yeah.
Now it's real time.
Yeah.
So you just see the percentage of this gets better, take the shot now. And that's always how VATS has been explained lore-wise.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense in a multiplayer game. And you don't get... Your VATS is effectively shit when you start the game, and then you unlock the cards, which are effectively perks to make your VATS better. So you can't target limbs when you first start the game. You need to take a perk or a card to be able to target limbs. You need to take cards. You need to take perception to be able to improve your hit percentage in VATS. In a PvP game, it's going to be really cool. I mean, it's going to be having that critical banked up in VATS is going to be like a really... if you choose to play PvP, which I probably will, I don't know how it'll pan out. It may be frustrating and I won't, but I'd like to think that I'll play PvP. But having that critical stored up in VATS is going to be like a big deal, I would imagine.
Yeah, and like one of the things I was reading, someone pointed out kind of nicely, is if you're doing manual shots. So you're playing against someone who physically their dexterity is very good, playing the game. Manual shots aren't going to build up criticals nearly as quick as VATS shots.
Yeah.
So even if you're not that great at manual aiming, using VATS still is going to give you a fairly good advantage to offset someone who might be playing, like on PC, if you're playing with controller and someone's playing keyboard and mouse. On Fortnite, you're never going to win.
No.
Because
it's impossible.
You can't move as quickly as someone with a keyboard and mouse.
If I dropped into a Fortnite game with my mouse and keyboard and I dropped into an Xbox game, I would win that game even though I'm the worst Fortnite player in the world.
Yes. Well, so like one thing I have been doing with the PlayStation, you can plug a keyboard and mouse up and play Fortnite with a keyboard and mouse.
Wow.
Which gives you a huge advantage. But like with Fallout 76, you can store up the criticals using the VATS shots.
Yeah.
Which offsets that advantage. Yeah. Which I think is kind of cool. It's a nice little balance there that without VATS, I don't know how they would handle.
The VATS system looks intriguing. Even if you're a really, really good Twitch-based gamer, even if you're Dr. Disrespect or Shroud or someone, you're still gonna have to be using the VATS system. You're still gonna have, because it's such a powerful thing to have that critical. It's still going to have to be part of your repertoire, which is going to be really cool. It's so intriguing. There's no NPCs in the entire game. The only
there are and there aren't.
Well,
I guess is probably the best way to do it.
Bethesda say there are no NPCs in the entire game. There's not a concept of an NPC in the entire game. So all the quests you pick up off corpses, and they're on tapes. You get them from robots.
But they work exactly like an NPC does.
Yeah. No, sorry. All I'm trying to say is every single human that you see every single person you see running around in the game is a person. There is no
unless they're those burned people, which are they're still
they're mobs,
enemies, but they're like smarter. Yeah,
but they're mobs. They don't give you quests. They're not NPCs. No. See, I'm going to be pedantic here. So technically, there are no NPCs in the game. Now, it doesn't impact the getting and receiving of quests, and also it's really cool the fact that you're doing quests for people who are like long dead is kind of weird, but I kind of like the idea from looking at the gameplay footage. It doesn't impact on it at all. I'm really excited, really excited.
It's weird from the aspect of I get the you find the radio transmission of something, or you find the notes for something like, hey, I need this done. You go do it, but then they still reward you.
Yeah.
So, that's the weird kind of thing. From a storytelling standpoint, how am I getting rewarded for this? But it doesn't seem to impact the gameplay.
But it unlocks
too much.
It unlocks a safe that's next to the terminal, so that because it's supposedly this automated system that was set up for these factions where they we'll see. That's definitely an intriguing thing. A really intriguing thing for me is the base building. So you can effectively build a base nearly anywhere on the entire map, which is really intriguing for me, as long as you're not too close to somebody else's base. And you're not too close to a structure that's obviously a map structure.
And the base sizes seem very generous.
They do. So this is going to be the weirdest thing, because if I build a base in one place, there's only a finite amount of space, so each of the servers are going to be instanced, assuming. Mm-hmm. So what happens if I build a base in one place and you build a base that overlaps my base, and then we want to join the same instance to play together? I
didn't see it in any of the gameplay, because those were very controlled setups. But from what I remember reading, what will happen is your bases will just be collapsed into your inventory. You can collapse your camp down anytime you want.
Yeah, okay.
So you'll just get everything back that you had, and you'll move your base.
Semi-permanent structures rather than being permanent structures. So it's almost like you putting your camp down and then you picking it back up. Okay, that makes sense.
I think you can do that at any point. So if you say I want to move my base, you can go back to the little base builder initial part. It collapses all down into a little camp set, and then you go to wherever you want, and then you have all of those resources back available to rebuild.
Sounds awesome. I'm really, really, really looking forward. I don't know if you've been able to tell, like, how excited I am for this game. I don't know if it's giving it away. Yeah, I just love Fallout. I love the lore. I love the sense of humor around the stories that they tell. You know, it's really almost like the perfect fit for my sense of humor and what entertains me. So,
well, and I think the one thing that worried me about it was, okay, we're taking Fallout, which is fundamentally a very desolate and empty game, and now filling it with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I think it was really, really smart to say we're going to do a settlement that, from all we can tell right now, opened on time, ran perfectly, so you have a lot of people available, and they're doing their, like, you know, okay, vault's open, go on out.
Happy Reclamation Day!
That explains why everybody's out there. It doesn't quite explain why everybody has disappeared, and I'm sure that's all part of the story part of it. Because if West Virginia didn't get hit with a nuke, everybody shouldn't disappear.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the weird part. But then I know, like, watching the gameplay videos, like, there's like your initial quest is like figuring out what's going on with the Overseer, because the Overseer has
vanished,
not disappeared, but she's left on this like weird mysterious quest.
I think
so.
I think
it's an interesting hook, and I think they've done a good job with the setup that they've got so far.
We'll move on, and what I like from the gameplay footage I've seen and from the videos I've watched, there's a real survival aspect, in as much as you have to eat and drink like there was in Survival Fallout 4, but they haven't made that, like, the difficulty isn't ridiculous. You have to keep eating, you have to keep drinking, but food and drink isn't going to derail your game as long as you've thought a little bit in advance. Does that make sense? It's not like some of those survival games where, like, the whole game is based around just making sure you've got enough food and drink, which is fine for those games. But for Fallout, it's more like I better keep my eyes on those meters, rather than, my whole game should be like Fallout 4 survival mode.
Yeah.
For the first I played it up to level 15 or 16, and for the first 10 to 12 levels, everything you do is about getting food and drink. Like, you can't do any quests because you haven't got the infrastructure to keep yourself hydrated and fed. So it seems like they've struck a happy balance there for me, anyway.
Yeah, and I think it's just enough to keep yourself going, but it's not hardcore like playing Rust or some of these other ones where like you're constantly hungry and like you spend an hour just trying to get food set up for then the next time you log in for it to all be gone and like it just be horrible.
Yeah, the PvP is opt out, so you're opted in to PvP from level 5, but they've been really clever to stop people being able to really grief you or bother you. So you can, if somebody's attacking you and you don't want to be involved in that combat, you can just fast travel away. If they don't have a beef with you or your team, they'll only be doing like 10% damage to you anyways, unless you accept the engagement. And if you don't want to accept the engagement, you can just fast travel away. So they've been really clever about how... I mean, you could just become a pacifist, in which case PvP no longer applies to you in any shape or form. I don't know what the rules are for opting in and out of that, because it would be nice if you could opt in and out of it. Like, today I want to do some questing on my own and some base building and some resource gathering, and I really don't want to be bothered with PvP, but then I don't want to have to opt out of PvP forever. You know, I want to... Maybe you can do...
It seems like a very kind of you could just say, I'm going to go and spend my time resource gathering today.
You know,
just not opt into PvP that day, and then, say like, oh, hey, let's go raid.
Like, it may be that it takes 24 hours to flip between the states, or, so you can't just do it on a whim, but as long as you can flip back and forth somehow, and there's a penalty somehow, or there's a cost to it somehow, I'm happy with that. Well,
and even worst case, like you said, if you're not in PvP, they're only going to do 10% damage.
Yeah.
Which gives you an advantage to run away, and stops people from just randomly mugging people.
I picked that number out of the thin air, by the way, in case anyone thinks it actually is 10%.
No, I think
a small amount
10%.
I've read. I've read 10%, but it hasn't been confirmed to be that valuable.
Okay, maybe that's what it is. I was say 10% sounds right to what I've seen.
So then, I can't wait. We'll obviously record again once 76 is released. Are you buying it on PS4? Are you?
It's probably going to be on Xbox.
So I don't know if we can play on the same
It's going to be console. Yeah.
And then I guess we did a full episode on WWE games, but 2K19 dropped and it looks pretty good. I haven't played it. I've seen some gameplay footage.
Yeah, it's this is the first one I've held off in a long time. I was really disappointed with 2K18's loot box system.
Yeah.
And I don't really like the virtual currency system that has been kind of shoved into it. It's not as aggressive as NBA 2K19, which just seems like a way to get you to purchase... The game of NBA 2K19 is not to play basketball, it's to buy currency packs. Jim Sterling has a really good video on like how bad that game is. Like, it's set up like a free-to-play game, but it's a free-to-play game you spend anywhere from $60 to $100 on. WWE's not as bad, and they've gotten better at being able to just say, like, you know, you'll build up virtual currency as you play the game, and you use it to buy skills and stuff like that. So it doesn't seem as bad, but I did not like the loot box system in 2K18 at all. Thankfully, they've gotten rid of that.
It's had good reviews.
Yeah, it's had pretty good reviews. It doesn't look a whole lot any different, but right now we're in that mode where the engine is just getting small little refinements each release. We're getting new features each release, like new gameplay modes and stuff. But like, it's not going to really get. It's not going to look any better probably for another couple of years, I would think.
It's I've been watching like a couple of streamer playing the career mode, which looks like a lot of fun. You start off in the indies, but it's just WWE's opportunity to completely mock everything about the indies. Like, you live out of the back of your van, and like you get paid like $10 per thing, and you're wrestling in a car park and stuff. You know, they're literally mercilessly ripping into the indie scene rather than.
But see, they can do that because most of their roster has never gone through that.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
Like, imagine how angry like Mick Foley would have been with that, or like Stone Cold Steve Austin, because they did go through
but
that.
But then, you know, they've got a lot of indie darlings wrestling in WWE now, whether it's on the main roster or whether it's in an NXT. You know, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, they were massive on the indies, huge. Mm-hmm. Then you've got like Ciampa, who's in NXT. They've got some massive indie names there now. Shinsuke Nakamura. So yeah, it's weird, but it was quite funny the way they did it. So
yeah, and they added big head mode, which as an NBA Jam fan, I much approve of.
I don't know. I haven't played these games for a long time, since 2K16 or 15. So I guess
18, and I really wanted to get 18 on the Switch. But as far as I know, they've never fixed the problems with it. So like, it had massive slowdown issues. Obviously they couldn't have as many people on the screen at one time, so like, you went from 8 people down to 6 in like the big tag team in like battle royale matches. But as far as I know, it's even 2K is like Bethesda. They don't know how to make a game without bugs. The Switch version, I guess they've never like, they dumped it out and said, there you go, and then just never touched it afterwards. I will probably pick up 2K19 around Thanksgiving, because that's usually the traditional time where all the DLC for it's out, and it will drop to like $20 at Walmart, and you can pick it up brand new with everything for $20. So
it's the only way to buy at the moment. Like, I don't know, the only games, like 76 is probably the only game that I would buy. Probably Doom. And it's not only Bethesda games, honestly, but probably Doom Eternal or whatever it's called, and the new Doom 2.
The Doom 2 remake.
I would want to play that so much that I would pick that up at full price, and Fallout 76. And apart from that, I don't think there's any game I would pick up at full price anymore. I just stick it on a Steam wish list, and when it gets dropped down, then I'll go, now's my time to play this game.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, I know the 2K games always drop price at Thanksgiving, so I'll just get that on Black Friday, and that's just the way to buy them. Like, I usually buy the Forza games, I didn't get Forza 4 this time around just because I don't have time to play it, and I didn't want to drop, $70 on that. It came out on Game Pass, so I got it for free.
But that
which,
yeah.
So for $10 a month, I get to play Forza Horizon, plus everything else on Game Pass. But like I logged in to like oh, what came out this week on Game Pass? Oh, Forza Horizon 4 is there. I guess I'll get that, and I'm glad I saved $60 that way.
It's just that there's very few games that are hyped enough that I feel a need to play them when they immediately drop, and that's the way it is now. Like Forza 4 is not going to be a worse game for not playing it for the first 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, whatever. It's not going to be a worse game, right? And
no.
The Division 2, having played the Division, I'm excited for it, but I'll wait till that gets down to $20, because in 6 months' time, it'll be $20. And even though it's an online E-type game, because we're just going to be playing a co-op, me and a friend, it doesn't really matter if the servers are busy or empty. Why would what difference does it make to me? So
it's like Far Cry 5. I really want to play Far Cry 5, but it's still about $50 used.
I mean,
I'm not paying that much for it.
I bought that. I wish I'd waited. I bought that full price really because I had nothing to play. I was in a situation where I had some time on my hands between jobs and I had nothing to play, and I'm glad I did. I had my $50 worth of fun out of it, so I'm not going to complain. But I could happily have waited till that comes down to $20 and paid the $20 for it. To be honest, easily, absolutely easily. So it is what it is. There's another couple of releases. I really wanted to talk about Black Ops 4, which dropped, and I haven't been playing it, but I've been watching a ton of people playing Black Ops 4.
Yeah, my kids want it just for the Battle Royale mode. Now, them being, 9 and 11, it's not really the right age range for them. Despite they're like, oh, well, we played PUBG. It's like, that's not the point. But like, I'm not spending $40 on a Battle Royale mode when I have already put in, I don't know how much money into Fortnite for them. It looks pretty fun though.
There's 3 modes. There's the first ever Black Ops game to come out without single player mode. So that's number 1.
I thought there was a short campaign for it.
There's no single player mode at all. So there's 3 modes. There's the multiplayer mode, which is the traditional Black Ops multiplayer, which is teams of 4, 5, 6, 7. Capture the flag, capture the points.
Deathmatch, all that.
Traditional multiplayer, as we would have called it. And then there's the other thing that Black Ops has always been famous for, which is the zombie mode, which looks like a lot of fun. And it's the same where you build up currency by killing zombies, and then you can upgrade your weapons. And you could do that as a solo. So I guess you could say that's a single player game, but it's not a single player campaign. And then
you're dropped in the maps and you fight zombies.
But you could do it solo, or you can do it as a small team, co-op, whatever you want. And then there's the blackout mode, which is the battle royale mode, which is it's like the first. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it the first ever AAA battle royale? Because I think it is.
Yeah,
I think it's the first ever AAA title that has got a battle royale mode for me.
I believe so. Yes, because I mean you've had. Because I don't think you'd really consider like For Honor and stuff like AAA. So I think this is really the first one. But at the same time, they've had the benefit of being able to watch PUBG, all of these other games pop up and see which ones stick and then pick things out from that.
And
so to me, it kind of looks like just like a better PUBG, and PUBG has never interested me.
It's complete. It's totally different from PUBG in one incredibly important perspective, and that's the pace of the game. And the pace of the game was what PUBG has always been fun because of the meta game rather than the actual game for me. PUBG's always been fun because of these moments where you've got intense combat interspersed by 10 minutes of running around or trying to sneak around, and it's like that 10 minutes builds the tension up to make that 30-second burst of actual activity to be like twice as intense as it would have been if you hadn't had the 10 minutes. And that, but when you did the 10 minutes of building it up, and then you just get sniped across the map without actually seeing anyone or engaging in the combat, was why the game was so frustrating for me. Blackout is just this balls to the wall, carnage type battle royale, which maybe a bit more like Fortnite is. Fortnite's a lot less tactical and a lot more I'm just gonna fight you, and you know it.
Yeah, like it depends on the round in Fortnite, because there are rounds where I have gone all the way up to I'm number 3 and I've not killed a single person, or like really really run into people, because of just, it depends on how it plays out. There are some times where like it's just an all out battle, and then you have the different modes, like the disco mode where everybody's trying to get around it's capture the flag basically. It's a capture the flag, king of the mountain kind of thing, where everybody's, you know, compounding in. Then you have like the full on like 50v50, where it's just which it kind of sounds a little bit more like what Black Ops is doing, where you just have two squads just constantly shooting at each other. It's just a mess.
Well, no,
of people firing back and forth.
Blackout's a last man standing traditional battle royale. You jump in with nothing, you loot, you run around, the circle gets smaller, but
it's a much faster pace.
And also because they don't try and make it fair, in as much as you can pick up buffs like total silence or whatever it is called, that means you don't make footsteps at all, which gives you a massive unfair advantage for the 3 minutes that buff lasts. But that's part of the game, so
yeah,
and that's fine. But because there's also an awareness buff that allows you to hear people miles across the map, and they haven't tried to make it like, they've tried to make it fun, not fair. And because the games are much less in length than a PUBG game, like PUBG games can last 30 minutes or whatever, you know, whereas easily last 30 minutes. I've seen PUBG games last in 45 minutes, whereas these games traditionally will last 15 to 20 minutes. So even if you get killed at the end of the game, it's not like you've invested all this time. That's where PUBG always fell down, was the games were so long because the map was so big that you'd invest all this time. You'd spend 20 minutes without seeing anyone and then get killed by somebody who just was camping in a house, and you had no real chance of killing them, you know, there was no way. But with these little buffs, now you do have that little chance to notice. There's a paranoia where if someone's aiming a gun at you, an alarm goes off in your head. Paranoia buff. So that if you are being sighted up from someone who's camping, there's a chance, you know. And it they tried really hard to take the negatives of the Battle Royale game and flip them into being positives. I really think they've done a good job. Like, I won't buy it now because there's too many games that I can play in, so I don't feel a need for an online game. Like 76 has come in, so there's no point me buying it. But I played the beta. There was an open beta, and I put about 10 hours into the open beta. It was really good. Really good.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to, I know our Redbox has it, so maybe I'll rent it for a day and see how it is.
Cool. I mean, there's only one thing to mention. It's not a massive deal for me, but I would imagine a lot of people are quite happy about the fact that Red Dead Redemption 2 is looming.
Yeah, I'm not... They've gated some of the stuff behind pre-order bonuses, and I'm not really happy about that. So, like, I was really super excited for it, but that kind of money grabbing really sours me on some things. Like, I really wanted to enjoy the new Assassin's Creed game because they look really fun, but they did the same thing. Like, we're going to gate a bunch of stuff between the different versions that you had. And, like, Shadow of War, like, that just, especially after getting one of the bigger versions, it's not worth it, but at the same time, I spent extra money for stuff that should have been in the base game. And I don't like that money grabbing aspect of it.
I mean, I never got on with Red Dead Redemption 1. I'm one of those few people who didn't see it as the great game that it obviously is. A great game. It's my failing rather than the game's failing. I'm certainly not trying to you know, I feel the same way about some games. Some games just don't click with me, and they probably should, but they don't. And that, you know, that is what it is. So I'm not particularly excited about it, if I'm perfectly honest. I mean, again, I'll probably just stick it on my Steam wish list if it's on Steam, or I'll stick it on my file that when I'm looking for a game to play, I'll go around and have a look what the prices are if they come down. I'll probably play it.
Yeah,
for 20 bucks,
that's one I think I'm definitely going to wait till the price comes down on to get. Just especially because I want to see what they do with it. Like, they dumped GTA 5 after it came out. You know, the single player really hasn't gotten anything. I don't think at all, actually, since it came out.
No, it hasn't.
All the stuff that's come into online has just been more money grabbing.
But people love that tactics. Online shit, right? GTA 5 online is like a massive deal.
GTA 5 Online is fun if you have friends to play the games with. Playing with random people in lobbies is just a shit show. Like, I can't stand it. And yeah, so, but like, and everything gets more and more expensive. Like, every time they come out with a new set of cars or whatever, the price of everything is inflating so quickly that, you know, all they're doing is pushing you to buy shark cards because it's not harder to earn money, but now you need more of the money to do stuff, which is really annoying. And I don't want to spend my time doing that. Like, I will have more fun playing Destiny 2 and waiting for random loot drops than having to worry about, like, well, you know, they're just pushing me toward microtransactions.
Now, we'll see. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2, it's almost certainly going to have a very compelling, enjoyable story to it because that's what it is, right? So I'm sure it'll be, it might even be one which I never buy and play. I just follow a Let's Play series, like if Many a True Nerd or one of the other YouTubers I follow does a Let's Play, I can get to witness the story by just watching 30 minutes.
Yeah, and it's supposed to have much more of a, like, an open world, kind of like do what you want freedom than what Red Dead Redemption 1 did. So, because now everything has to be open world and completely open-ended.
Of course it does. It's one of my fucking pet hits, Chris, is the fact that every game has to be open-ended. Whatever happened to the... Well, I say, we look at Doom, one of my favourite games from 2016. In fact, right up there for me. No, not open-ended. You play through it linearly because then they can make sure that you get the right jump scares at the right time and you get, you know, the right amazing power-ups at the right point where you just need them. Yep. So, yeah. Anyway, that's...
So, I think that's what I'm going to wait and see. If it turns out it's a good game, I'll pick it up because I enjoyed Red Dead Redemption.
It's bound to be a good game.
This is one I need to see before I buy. I'm definitely not going to pre-order it.
I hear you. So, yep, that's us done. We did actually manage to get episode 23 in the bag, regardless of... I didn't think this was ever going to happen because the first day we were going to record, I had a terrible, terrible cold. And my voice... You can tell now after speaking for like 50 minutes or whatever, my voice is playing up a bit. But yeah, we're in the bag. We really, really love doing these. We really, really would like to do them more often. So apologies for the huge gap again.
It's all Gary's fault.
If somebody wanted to sponsor us to make sure that we had to keep producing these, that would probably be helpful. It was entirely my fault. I will put both hands up in the air again and admit that. But yeah, I've been Gary. That's Chris. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Hopefully, we'll join you. We'll record again soon. Probably more in ramblings about Fallout 76, but we'll see. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you all again.
Bye, everybody. And don't forget to save your game.
I thought you were going to forget that.
I had forgotten that was the problem.